Fear of the dark, fear of the dark. Hello everybody. Right, you join me as usual in the dark. No Bigfoots around or anything like that. I'll give you a 360. Well, you don't know whether I'm doing that, but I am, trust me. I'll get the headlamp on in red light mode so you can see what on earth am I looking at here. Well, this is just early thoughts. Early thoughts. It may look like an EA01 from Astrolux, or if you remember the EA01S, which was even bigger, it was at a quarter meter. This is slightly shorter. When I've measured them, slightly shorter on the bottom there, and the head's wider. Now, the reason the head's wider is because you've got all of these. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 emitters, kind of like the E07 by Fireflies. I'll show you that in a moment, actually, just so you know what that looks like. Gets hot pretty quick, but I've been enjoying this so far. I've only done, well, hang on, so in total three hikes with this, and it's pretty good. And I'll turn this off so you can see the auxiliaries. There's the auxiliaries. Pretty interesting. Those auxiliaries can be configured in a lockout mode, and they can also be configured in another mode, so non-lockout mode, so to speak. And you can also configure, it'll show you the battery level, so it's not just blue, it may look it, but there is like amber in there, there's red and green and all sorts of different things. So but again, this is early days, so you know, don't expect me to know everything. This has a 1.5 meter drop rating, so pretty impressive. I would have preferred to have seen 2, but it is an Astrolux. It's not one of these ultra mega deluxe things. I'll turn it on because you're probably bored of my voice, so we'll walk along a bit. Apologies for the wind noise. I don't have an external mic, but this is just an early thoughts hike. Look at that, brilliant. You can use this on an 18650 cell. With the collar that comes with it, then you can take the core section out the collar, and then what you get is a 21700 you can use in this. My goodness, that looks like this must be where the mob has buried someone, and then that looks like a predator's dug into that there. Joking aside though, so you know, I'm really impressed with this so far. It's a stubby, but it's got a pretty good, it's about 6,000-ish lumens. I'll show you some other lights in a moment. In fact, looking through here, so what I'll do is I'll go through the modes. So we'll turn this off, just turn the headlamp off there. So we'll go to its lowest mode. Right, that's its lowest. So let's have a look. Let's get right down on the floor here. So not a lot going on there, very low. That's probably around, it looks about 5-ish lumens, it could be lower. It's hard to tell with this tint. Tint-wise, you can get it in, and I'll turn it up just a little bit there, so that's about a quarter. Tint-wise, now, emitter, you've got to get an SST20 on this. There's no 50.2s by CRI, which would bump up the outputs. I don't think it would handle the heat if you did that. If you remember the SP36, the non-pro version was nice and heated up okay, but then the pro version heats up mega quick. It gets a bit silly. So this is SST20. It comes in 4000, which is what I'm using here. It also comes in a 5000, which is a kind of a neutral. This is the warm tint I've got here in Kelvin value anyway, and you can get it in 6000 or 500. So let's turn around a little bit here. So pretty good so far. I'm enjoying it. So you got those emitter choices. Now I did some testing, the CRI, which just stands for Color Rendering Index. If you know, I'm not going to go into it too much. This isn't a full review, but if you remember that color rendering, so you know, natural light should be around 100%. It's going to show all of the visible colours that you should be able to see. So this was way over 95, so brilliant. And I like the warm tint, so what we'll do is that's maximum, so look at that. In fact, we'll walk along. You're probably bored of me standing around. Apologies again for the wind noise. I'm very ill prepared here, but this is just early days, and we'll walk along here and try and get out of the wind a bit. So 1.5 meter drop rating, IPX7, so it's not IPX8 fully submersible in water, but I'm glad that they're actually being honest. You know, they're not trying to claim that it's something that's not. So IPX7's acceptable. I'm happy to take that. It does have a decent flap, and you can USB charge it with Type-C. So pretty modern. It's not one of these ones where they insist on putting in the old micro USB, which is a nuisance. Just to show you, that's full ramp. Let's go to turbo. In fact, we'll put it down in the water here. So there's the river. If I put this on turbo, boom, there's turbo. Massive. Again, now look at the width of the beam. With all of those, you'd expect it to be quite floody. It is floody, but it's not as floody as I thought. It's a little bit of a thrower, so that's quite interesting. But that kind of suits the SST20s, the 20s and 40s, more of a throwy beam. So it works. You know, I'm very impressed with it. It's Anduril, so you've got all those nice options. Again, I'm not going to go over this. This isn't a full review, so you know, it takes me half an hour just to go through the UI with Anduril. I'll just step through here, and hopefully we can get out of a bit of wind, unless I go up there, but then that's higher up, isn't it? So we'll stand here just for a second. So we're out of a bit of wind here, so very, very nice. I'm really liking it. Again, not a full review. Now it's starting to get hot now, so I can feel the heat there now. So again, I'll show you the levels. So we'll go to its lowest. Right, so that's absolute lowest. That's about just under medium, I would say, about 40%. So it doesn't really stretch that far. Full, very nice. It's just floody enough for hiking. It's not that wide compared to some of the other lights, but it's decent. And then we'll go to turbo, double click, boom, turbo. Beautiful. I'm really like that. And then we'll turn that off. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you some other lights just so you can compare it. So we'll put that in my back pocket. In fact, I'll lock it because I'm known for melting coats and things like that, which is very silly. So let's just compare to and I shall show you if I can get it out of my pocket. So I'll turn this on. This is the Sofern SP36. So Sofern SP36, not the Pro version, which is mega powerful, and it isn't a TIR. This is using a quad emitter SSTs here, not the 50.2s, which is much more powerful. So we'll go to its highest ramping. There's its highest ramping. Again, this is high CRI, so very similar to the last light, although this doesn't look as warm. It's more neutral, but very nice. There, that's turbo. Look at that. Beautiful. Again, that doesn't look that wide beam width, does it? I was surprised with the size of this. I thought this would have quite a wide beam, but it's not that wide when you compare it to some of the other lights. I'll just show you left to right there. Pretty impressed with it though. Massive though. It takes you know, a whole set of 18650 batteries, so totally different to the other ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock that so it doesn't burn a hole in me like some toxic waste. Another light that I'm testing it against, just because of the form factor, really looks very similar. So this is in black, obviously it just looks smaller, but it's slightly taller but not as wide. Again, quad emitter but not high CRI. This is the E801, so we'll turn that on. So turn that up. I was quite impressed with it. Very bright, this one, look. Boom. I mean, that's, you know, pretty decent. Very high lumen output on this one though. Look at that. Massive difference. Again, not that wide, but acceptable and certainly decent for hiking. I really enjoyed it. And it's got the cock and balls flap, which I like, not just because it sounds funny, but it does actually work. It's a good design. Whereas on the newer one here, the Mini that I'm looking at, it's using a round one, which I don't like quite as much, even though I do like the round one on the FT03. That's a really good one. It really stops the water getting in. So there's just another option here if you wanted a multi-emitter like that. So very high lumen output. So lock that, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, get that in the pocket. I'm also testing it against another cheeky light. Again, it looks very similar, but slightly older, I would say. Well, older in regards to chronology of my channel. Again, looks very similar, but instead of the E801S, it's the E801, using a big fat TIR. Look at that. Now this is only about 3,500 lumens on turbo, and it's using a CRI 50.2 emitter. So I'll show you that. That's quite a low setting there. And then if we ramp that up a bit, so again, CRI, boom, so there you go. And then we'll go to turbo, boom. Now, interesting, look at that. You've got this quite noticeable, in fact, I'll put it down the ground, very noticeable fat, splodgy. Now, there's some tint shift there, obviously, due to the TIR, but this quite sort of fat, pushy section in the middle, and then it sort of falls off, which is, I still use this regularly. I use it in the garage and hiking and things like that. I like it. I love its size. I'm just wondering if this, if MF01 Mini that I'm testing is going to replace this in that regards, because this isn't a high CRI, and I love a high CRI light. But look at that. And beam wise, again, look, pretty punchy, or throwy, you might want to call that. I'm just talking about the diameter of the beam there, because some of them can be quite wide looking. So 1, 2, 3, 4, let's lock that, because I don't want to be set on fire like normal. I'm also testing it against quite an old one for me, Fireflies. I always thought this was a little bit overpriced. E07, in fact, there you go, E07 by Fireflies. Beautiful auxiliaries, but it does drain the battery. You know, you don't get light for nothing, and I really like the button on this, even though I wish it was a bit more recessed. At least it's not proud though, see, it doesn't pop out. Heat sinks are deep and nice on this, using a 21700, beautiful. It doesn't, this won't take a 26650 like the light I'm looking at, but it's decent, very pocketable. For me anyway, but I'm quite a tall guy. We'll get that turned on, so there you go, quite floody. Heats up rapidly, this one. This uses XPL highs, so it's not using the newer, like the SST20s, SST40s, or the 50.2s or anything like that. So older technology, you could argue, but watch this, watch how bright it is. Now bear in mind, this is going to be a whiter tint, so boom, look at that. That's pretty impressive. I remember the first time I used this, I got the giggles. It was the same giggles I got when I used the MSR D4. Beam width wise, you can see the secondary section there, it gets quite wide-ish. It's certainly a little bit wider peripheral wise than the other ones, but you get this nice fat punch in the middle. Beautiful, look at that. Some people might not like that though because it's white, but you can get different emitters on this. I just happen to get this emitter, well, set of emitters, because obviously it's 7 and it's using a multi-TIR lens there. Brilliant, but steps down eventually obviously due to size. But look at that, fan-bloody-tastic. And again, I find that pocketable. Some people might say, oh, a 21750, 700, no, you're not going to fit that, but you do. So lock that, boom, that's locked, then it's locked and you've got the auxiliaries on there, lovely. And I'm also testing it against, if I can find it, where is it? The one I bought from Ace Beam E70, beautiful looking light. You can't see it properly, but I'll show you. There you go, boom. It's got a beautiful blue accent and a secondary layer there, and like a crenellated bezel, or tack bezel, or whatever they're calling these days if you're trying to be tactical. I love this. I'm glad I got this. I really enjoy carrying this and owning it. I just love the design. Does that mean it's a brilliant light? No, obviously not, but it's got to perform. But if you remember, if you go and have a look at the review of this, the way it spread the beam with the orange peel just was absolutely brilliant. It blew away the competition. Now this is, I think this is using a 70.2 rather than a 50.2. So if you remember that EA01 with the fat TIR there was a 50.2. Let's turn this off and I'll show you. So double click, boom, there, look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Nice tint as well. The beam, look, I can't see any, maybe it's a little bit of tint shift if you wanted to be fussy, but not a lot. Look at that. Absolutely love this light. And highly pocketable again at 21700. Although on this one you can't charge it from the outside, you've got to take the cell out, but that's just how they've chosen to do it, which again is a plus in one way because it increases waterproofing. I don't mind that extra step, some people do. Obviously it means you can't use it whilst charging, can you? So it's more of a looker, you could say, rather than good utility. But look at that, beautiful. Doesn't look that bright there, although if I get it to, sorry about that, a bat's just gone past. There you go, right, see if I can get a side shot. Can't really see, it's hard to see, but it does sort of spread out quite wide. But that orange peel lens does a fantastic job, highly rated. Boom. Right, so if I get that into the pocket, I'll go back to the light I'm supposed to be talking about, and then I might leave you in some peace, because this is just an early thought. So let's get the light back on. I'll just show you, get a good look at it here. So that's it there. The heat sinks aren't that deep. It's got a stainless steel bezel, which is nice. It's deep enough, so if you drop that, it hopefully shouldn't smash unless you're on cobbles in Victorian Britain or something daft like that. Maybe it could do a little bit more knurling here, but I like the design. And there's the model on the bottom there. It's the MF01 Mini. Now this was sent to me by Banggood, but don't you worry, there will be an honest review as usual. These are just my early thoughts, so we'll get that turned on. If I can actually make it work. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, unlocked, bang. Beautiful, absolutely love it. You can see that bat's going mad, flying past. We'll walk along a bit, and I'll sort of describe some more thoughts on this. It's Type C, which is brilliant. It means you can charge it up. The one problem I did have was it doesn't seem to be power delivery compatible. So when I talk about power delivery, I'm talking about the fact that you might want to go from a Type C to a Type C, which is becoming more of an issue these days. I've just bought a new AC adapter there, like a gang lead, and it's got 3 Type C outputs. 2 of them are power delivery, one is like an IQ one, and then it's got 3 35-watt Type A's on. So it's becoming more of an issue. Even in my car, I run a Type C to Type C to charge the phone and things like that. So you really need that's going to have to become a thing where manufacturers need to make the extra effort to make things Type C to Type C. If they don't put in that power delivery, you can't get that, and I will mark them down for that. Excuse me, I'm just getting a moth off my head here. They're attracted by the light. Anyway, I don't want to waffle on too long. Pretty nice, so let's just quickly go through the modes whilst I get attacked by moths. So we'll go to the lowest. So there's the lowest, pretty decent, and then we'll ramp it up a bit. That's about just under medium. There's medium, pretty nice. I love the colour rendering on this. High, that's its highest ramp, and you get a little flicker in Angular. It'll flicker to see, right, that's the highest setting, just so you know, you're not hammering the button. Very nice there. Width-wise, look, pretty good. It's not quite as wide as some of them, but again, I'm being very picky. That's the whole point of this channel. Let's go to turbo. Feels a little bit warm now. There's turbo, full output. I should have really told you the lumens on those other ones. That SP3036 was, I think that's 5,252 lumens or something like that. This is around 6,000 lumens on maximum. Let's have a look in these trees. But I think this is more than enough, and it is going to get hot, but it doesn't seem to have stepped down yet, does it? Beautiful. I'll do more outdoor stuff on this, obviously. I'll do a hell of a lot of comparisons side by side, not just here's one light, then here's another. I find side by side stuff gives you a good idea of what you're getting, because the whole idea of this channel obviously is to help people buy a light that they're going to enjoy, not a light that, you know, some nefarious person might want you to buy so they can make a profit. I want you to get a light that you really like, because then you're going to enjoy it, and you know, you can enjoy being a flashlight fanatic like me. Anyway, I've talked long enough, I really have. It's very dark and I need to hike to get back, so we'll make tracks here, and I'll turn this down. That didn't sort of step down there, did it? Nice, you know, it's not too hot. I'll turn this on so you can see. There it is there. Look, I'm holding the top. It's very warm, very warm there, but not stupid. It's about 5 to 7 degrees Celsius where I am at the moment. So it's certainly not that cold because we're springtime here. So thank you for joining me. I'll get a full review when I have time. I've had a lot on my plate, and I've just come back from the Highlands of Scotland. So thank you to all the people who support the channel though. You mean a lot, and you know, all this extra information that you give me, it's massively helpful, because most of the people who watch this channel know more than me. I keep saying that because it's true. So thank you for joining me. I'll turn this off to show you how dark it is. Boom, there you go. So very dark. You can see I've just got the red light on. You can't even see the ground there. So thanks for joining me. I'm off. Any questions, stick them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them, answer every comment, even the silly ones. And play nice and have a good night. Thank you very much for joining me. Goodbye.